What's up? Ryan just
We're back.
disappeared. He's
We're
back.
back.
He's back.
We're
All right,
here.
we are live. All right. What's up, beasties? It's me. It's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. And I am excited to have an awesome guest here on the first live episode of Beast Friends Forever.
It's
And that is this guy right here. I'll let him introduce himself. But
good evening, everybody. I'm Ryan Skeffington. I'm the author of Lost Souls and the soon-to-be released Eternal Dreams. Chris, thank you very much for having me. And I do just want to kick it off with a compliment. Your introductions, as you've been more on BookTube, are crisp. They're precise. They're proud. The improvement you've shown over the videos that you've done over the last month, spectacular. You're rocking it, buddy.
Well, the first time you sit underneath in front of the camera, it's a little awkward, but then eventually you just get used to it and your personality starts to come out. I think, you get used to it.
Absolutely. I started on Twitch and talking to a video game where no one's watching and there are going to be no viewers. You kind of just have to say, hey, I'm an actor at this point. I'm just doing my best.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going to say hi to some peeps that are all in here first. We got Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and my man. Thanks for being here, dude. Him and Alex, they're both bouncing between streams. It sounds like it's a popular night to do them. There's quite a few good ones going on.
Big shout out to Andrew over at his YouTube channel and his Discord. We had a buddy read of Lost Souls and had a couple people come hang out and talk about the book, and it was a really good time.
It was good. We got Kenneth in here. He made it. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you, Kenneth.
And then we got John is here. He was the first one in the comments section. He got his seat early at about 3 o'clock. He's not messing around.
Hail, John.
Let's see. All right. Hello. Thank you for being here.
Curran is one of my writing buddies. Good. He and I are in Discord every other day, every 2 days. Just, hey, I got my word count up to here. Hey, I'm thinking about this. I'm editing over here. And so we kind of keep each other accountable and moving forward on our writing.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here, Curran. I'm excited. I'll have to reach out to you and get to know you too. Thanks for being here. We got Jake from Nerd Level Rising. Can't stay, unfortunately, but thanks for popping in to say hi, man. I'll chat with you later. Thanks for watching the replay. All right. Got my dude, Josh. What's up, man? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Oh, and we got Bo in here. What's up? Thanks for coming.
Bo? Good evening. Awesome. Big shout out to SFFI, Sci-Fi Fantasy Insiders, a wonderful blog with tons of reviews and many great people helping out the book community. Another great Discord.
I agree. And we got Tim in here. What's up, Tim? Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
A lot of good, fun people coming to hang out, talk books, get a little rowdy, some shenanigans.
That's what I'm talking about. EL. We got Rob, the Canadian Geek. Yes. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it. All right. And you had perfect pronunciation.
Beautiful. I love that.
That's good because I was waiting. I'm like, ugh. That's how I thought it was. But I'm like, I was going to go for it. And then you said it. I'm like, oh, good.
Hey, teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. That's right.
That's where live shines is, hey, maybe I'm just going to let the air be a little bit silent for 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds. And I'm going to have my partner come in, swoop in, fill the air. Bam.
Boom. There it is. Exactly.
Tim, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Last time I think I was on, it was pretty well trimmed. And as by the thumbnail of this video, whenever someone goes and watches it, I've got quite the amount of hair that I didn't have when I started my BookTube journey, and it might not be here for that much longer, so I'm gonna savor it while I can.
Do it, man. What are you gonna go with? You already know the hairstyle you're gonna go with. You're gonna go shorter.
So I've had a one on the sides with finger length on the top my entire life. Probably gonna go back to the classic with a medium high fade. But it's just about to the length where I'll be able to donate it. And so that's one of the reasons why I've kind of put off the haircut, I was ready for it to kind of go about a month ago, and they were like, yeah, we recommend 9 to 12 inches, and like the top stuff here that's all the way down, I can kind of get 9 to 10, and then the stuff that's at the neck, it just needs a little bit more time. So I'll be patient with it. Maybe it'll be my Christmas present is a new fresh
Well,
look.
there you go. I like it. You got some curls back there, though. I bet when it's like, if it's straight, it's probably a lot longer.
I've never seen it straight before. It just coils. It doesn't
Yeah.
even curl. And it's funny because I didn't know I had curly hair. It's always been short my entire life.
Oh man, really?
So this is the first time I've ever grown it out.
Oh, this is the first time you tried it out, huh?
Mhm. Hey, you gotta keep things fresh, try new things,
Oh
keep
yeah.
some novelty in your life.
Yes, you do. You do.
My conditioner budget is just emptying the wallet.
It's over the top now, huh?
My wife loves trying different products, and anything she doesn't like kind of becomes mine as just
Yeah.
leftovers.
Oh yeah.
And I got one that she thought was a little bit too heavy for her curls,
Okay.
and it's perfect for me. It's $21 a bottle. And it's like
$21.
this big.
Gosh.
And
Oh yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty
not fun.
liberal with the amount too.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
hurts.
you got to go all out, man.
So everyone, I need you to buy my book if you want to support my hair.
Otherwise, it's gonna have to come off right away.
Yep. I can't do this for long.
Oh man, we got Molly in here. What's up, Molly? She is the author of Dark Bloom. Have you seen that?
So
Making
I
Wave?
got to catch part of her interview with the Beard of Darkness,
Yes.
and I was so
Good.
happy when I was listening to it because Dark Bloom is actually a song from one of my favorite bands, We Came as Romans, that's in
Nice.
my workout playlist, and I'm like, I wonder if it is. The chances of it being the same thing were pretty slim, and
Yeah.
as I was listening to the interview, I was like, yeah.
Yes. Called it. Oh, EL says that's why men cut their hair. $21.
Yeah.
But Curran said they bought a $37 bottle.
Oof.
So that's impressive.
I started going to a professional barber now that I'm an adult. I don't go to Pro Clips or Sports Clips anymore. And $75 a pop just hurts getting the
Oh,
beard
man.
trim, getting the haircut,
Oh, yeah.
tipping nicely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't had a haircut in a couple months. Oh man, we're living good.
Living the
I
dream
can eat
now.
steak.
Yes. Bo says, so if we see you show up with a buzz cut, that means sales are bad.
Yeah, they can't get worse than they are right now. So I expect to see upward numbers. If the Fed just cut the rate so everyone can go borrow money more cheaply, take out some loans, buy a few copies, get your family the book right now, buy 5 or 6, distribute them,
Right.
be the Santa
Everybody
Claus you
gets
want
their
to
own.
see in your
Yeah.
life.
Yes. All right. So let's start off. Let's talk about the book. This one right here. Boom. Look at that cover.
It's
And
the
you know
best
what?
part about the book.
Do you know what else I love about the inside's pretty good too. You know what else I love about this? It's that buttery smooth texture.
Yeah.
You know, it feels good on the face.
I'll sometimes just sit there and stroke the cover.
Exactly. But yeah, so first just give us a little pitch. Tell us from the author himself. What is
Absolutely.
Lost Souls about?
Lost Souls is a far future sci-fi, sci-fantasy action adventure that follows multiple points of views, but one main point of view named Maximus. Maximus is unhappy with his current life and he wants to change the rings for the greater. He wants to get back to the status he used to once live, and he embarks on a grand adventure, meets new friends, tries to solve problems, and I will read the I guess back quote. Oh, that's a misprint. That's since we're live. I just got a new copy, and the quote is missing.
Oh no!
But I think it's something that ends in a bang.
Oh yeah, I don't have it either.
Dang. Okay, we have live edits to make, and that's one of the what's the word I'm looking for? One of the perils of self-publishing is sometimes you goof.
Yeah, it happens.
I I have made many an edit to the actual text in this book after publishing. Kay's Hidden Shelf, another wonderful YouTuber who I was on, she messaged me. She highlighted something. She was like, I think the letter A is supposed to go in between these two words. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. It is.
Correct.
Head over to KDP Amazon Publishing, upload the new Word doc, make sure all the formatting's good, and everyone else who gets it. So, everyone's just got different versions. It's like first edition, second edition, worst edition, and now we're back to good edition.
It ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys.
Yeah. So in maybe 10 years, when this series hits the mainstream, everyone who got one that had a misprint or a misquote, you've got a collector's item on your hand.
That's right. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. We got Aaron Bibliotheories in here.
Oh, he's coming in with some spoilers with blue flowers. Yeah, that's just the tiniest of plot devices that kicks off the chain reaction that ends the first book. And I think you mentioned it earlier before we started. Towards the end of the live stream, for those who have read it, we're kind of going to do a live Q&A, full spoilers, discuss the book, discuss my thought process, where I made all my mistakes, where I think I did pretty good, and we'll see where it goes.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. Tim agrees with you. He says there's a solid 5 or 6 versions of his book too. That's how it goes, right?
We're all doing this for fun. We don't have a publish house. Every time someone edits our book, typically we have to pay for it. And sometimes they're professional editors, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're not very experienced, sometimes they're industry vets, and because you're an indie author, they don't really give you the time of day.
Right.
I had a developmental edit, which is essentially they read it and they write you a little report, and paid $800 and got 4 pages of feedback. And a lot of it was just like, I'm not sure really what's going on here because I didn't read the first one. So is this explained? And I'm like, yes, that is the that's the whole first book that you're asking about. So appreciate you.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of that, sometimes people not understanding, you did make a, and we talked about this before when I first started reading the book, but you made an author's choice, a creative decision to not handhold, to just throw people into this world with everything happening and kind of have the reader figure it out as they go. So how did that decision come into play, and how did you make it?
Absolutely. I wasn't a big reader before I started writing. So writing actually got me into reading. I read a lot as a kid, and then once we got into high school and I was told what to read, I kind of fell off. And then I went to college and had to do a lot of technical reading. And I just didn't do a whole lot of personal reading because I was big into video games, which is a huge inspiration in here, as we can talk about later.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I was writing it and learning the craft and just kind of working on my skill set, a lot of the people I saw on YouTube, they were like, your readers are smart. Don't handhold them. Don't spoon feed them the answers. You want them to read it and understand. And maybe I took it to the far end of not telling people enough. Like, there was a lot of times where a character said something vaguely adjacent to the point that I was trying to make, and you would kind of have to piece together their background, where they grew up, how they grew up, and why they would say that to really get what I was trying to tell the reader. And sometimes it got missed, and sometimes it got picked up. But hopefully that makes it good for a second reread as you get context, or it's a very enjoyable book for people who don't like being told everything up front, because you really don't know how it's going to turn out until the last 5% of the book.
Yes. No, you don't. I did not. And we'll talk about that later. So yeah, I guess tell me a little bit. I love to hear about authors' journeys too. But before we talk about that, let's go way back in the day. When you first got your finger length 1-inch fade when you were just a little skeff.
A young
Like
lad.
what got you into the love of like reading and books and sci-fi, video games? Like how did that all kick off for you as a kid?
Hmm. I was extremely competitive. My dad was a wrestler and state champion, and so everything that we did, I have a younger brother who's also extremely competitive.
Oh
So
man.
everything we did was a competition.
Okay.
Who could eat seconds at dinner the fastest? Who could run the fastest? Who could swim the fastest? Who could read the most? And so we would pick up series and just try and go through them as fast as we could. And things like Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, one of the very few books that I single sitting read. I just opened it and finished it. And so a lot of it was just the adventure of not knowing what was coming next. And that's something I love about magic
Right.
is people can share their ultimate creativity in fantasy and science fiction. And just the journey that you go on. One of them was The Thief Lord, and that's a kids book, maybe early young adults book, but I remember that one pretty vividly. Have been like, I could be in this group of kids. It was like one main character with what's the Gentleman Bastard series? Oh, what is that first book?
Oh, Lies of Black Lamora.
Yes, it's Lies of Locke Lamora for kids.
Yeah,
Instead
yeah,
of the old guy, it's a teenager. And
right.
so I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
I feel like I'm part of the gang. And so that was another reason I was like, oh, I absolutely love this book, love reading. And now I'm back into it with the Red Rising series, as we talked about on Twitter.
yes,
And Red Rising is just so much fun.
it is. It is.
I finished Lost Souls before I started reading Red Rising because I didn't want to be derivative, which is something that people on YouTube say is bad. But Empire of Silence is pretty damn good, and it's a little bit derivative.
Right.
So a lot of it was just figuring out how I wanted to do it myself. And back to the reading, I can't wait for Red God. I'm so excited.
Heck yeah, dude.
Hell Reaper.
Hail Reaper. I know. It's gonna be awesome. Is there a more cemented release date yet, or is it still just sometime in 2025?
For Red God?
Yeah.
I don't even think it's
Or is it
been like
2026?
confirmed for 2025. There was like an article and someone was like, "Oh yeah, we heard from Pierce that he's working on it, so we can safely assume
Yeah.
it'll be end of 2025." And nah, no,
Yeah.
I don't think
Most
anything's
likely
come
not.
out. Most
I don't
likely not. He's got so many interweaving plots that he
Yeah.
needs to figure out.
Well, yeah, he's
And
got to stick the landing, so he's got to take his time, which is
And
good.
I follow him on Instagram and I check his reels or stories every now and
Uh-huh.
again. And he's off in the mountains hiking. He's bouldering. He's hanging out with his dog. He's eating French
Oh yeah,
wine and cheese with friends. And I'm like,
he's a cool dude.
I would do the same. I can't say I wouldn't. So just,
Right.
just
Oh
being
yeah.
patient.
Oh yeah. We just gotta wait. That's how it
Mhm.
goes. All right. So that got you into it. When did you start thinking that maybe you could do the whole writing thing?
So audacity is something that I have in spades. I was at a football game with my wife. It was her very
Mhm.
first NFL playoff game. We lost to the Bengals. I'm a Titans fan. We lost to the
Okay.
Bengals.
Titans. Nice.
2 seconds left on the clock. They kick a 53, 54-yard field goal and win the game 22-21. Heartbreaking. So already in my feelings, sad, emotional.
Right.
And 14-hour drive home from Nashville to Oklahoma. And I'm just sitting there. And then I think about X-Men 2 for whatever reason. And I think about Magneto being imprisoned and the guard comes in and Magneto lifts him up and pulls the iron out of his body and escapes prison. And I say, that's a cool power. What if the government had that? And that's how Lost Souls was born.
And that's how it happened.
Yep, that's
I like it.
exactly how it happened. And so for the many hours we had left on the drive, I was like, okay, how would that work?
Right.
Where would they do that? How would magnets and metal and rings and space interact with each other? And you couldn't do it on Earth because you have a core. You need your own core. You need to just it's
Oh
like
yeah.
that Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme where he's like pointing
All
at the board. He's like, it's this.
that was you on the drive, huh?
Yeah, it was me. Oh yeah, I drive with one hand. I'm trying to not roll my chair back into my
Oh, yeah.
dog. put my hand and I just drive like this, and I just
Yes.
no, like that's
Pondering.
4 plus 4 is minus 7 plus X. What? Yeah, it's just you feel like a mad scientist when you're
Right.
plotting, and that's why I have to plot so much,
Mhm.
because brain goes squirrel every 3 seconds to come up with a new idea,
Okay.
and if I didn't write it down, it would be gone forever.
Oh, it would never come back, huh?
Yeah, so I'm gonna open up the doc just so I can tell you correctly.
Oh, yeah.
But I have 3 planning docs, one for Lost Souls, one for Eternal Dreams, and one
Mhm.
for Immortal Mother, which is gonna be book 3. Title is pending, but I kinda like it.
Yeah, that's a cool title. I dig it.
The first planning doc was 35 pages.
Okay.
The second one, I think, is like 57. So the sequel has a cast of characters that is about triple in size.
Wow.
Only I actually cut the number of POVs to make it a little bit more coherent. Um, but you've got all of the Titans. You've got more Phantoms, which is one of the higher casts. You've got reoccurring dredge roles, and this one was so much more fun to write, so I can't wait for it to be out in the world.
Timothy's
Hey,
here.
Tim, what's up, my guy? Thank you for
Nice.
joining
Happy
us.
Friday.
Yeah,
You're
57
blowing,
planning
yeah,
pages
you're
is a
blowing Aaron's
novella for
mind.
some people. But
Um,
I kinda do, I call
n
it a draft
not dangerous.
0, where I start with all of my ideas, I start with my characters, my plot, my
Mhm.
setting, and then I'll say, "Alright, scene 1, who's in scene 1? What other characters are in scene 1? What is the setting of scene 1?
Oh,
What's the plot of scene 1?" And they'll be like,
mm,
"This guy does this, this guy does this, this guy does this," and boom, you have a scene, and so that's maybe half a page outlined before I turn it
okay.
into words.
I like that. I could see how that could become a very wordy, planning document.
Mhm. Yep. And so when you finish scene 1, you're like, "Oh, how does scene 1 roll into scene 2?" Um, and then you write scene 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you're like, "Oh, this would be super cool in scene 2." So you go back up in your outline and you add another little asterisk, you add some highlighting, you add some connective lines, and then you're looking at the big ball, the big wall of papers and strings and interconnected dots.
Oh, man. So you are definitely not a pantser then. You are a
I
outliner, planner. I feel
so
like
the
you're kind of a mix,
the
a little bit.
only thing I pants is dialogue, unless I hear a quote like on Instagram or TikTok, and I'm
And you
like,
gotta
"That
get
goes
it in
hard. I'm gonna put that in there," which kinda gets me in trouble sometimes because 'cause you're, like, trying to write a
there. Right,
conversation to get to the end and not write it
right.
naturally. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but dialogue is really hard for me because it's either unnatural or the character wouldn't say it. And so dialogue is something that you just got to rework and rework and rework
Oh, yeah.
so that you're being true to the character, not trying to tell the reader what you want to tell the
Right.
reader.
That makes sense.
And
Yeah, you
and
gotta
that's tough. Other people do it
yeah.
much better than I do. This is a very mediocre book, so don't get your hopes up,
Get outta
everyone in the
here.
audience.
It's a great book. Alright, we got a couple mics in here. We got Michael's here. Thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate it.
Michael has a beautiful cover.
He does.
Strong main character. I love
Yes.
the pinks in the
Pinks and the
background.
blues.
Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful cover.
Gorgeous. And then we got Mike Molman here.
Hey,
Howdy,
Mike.
howdy.
I've been on Bald and Balding before, and that was a very good time.
I get to
He
be on
told
there
me
next
my
week.
text was too small, so you have a edition that has size 12 font, and that was a direct
Okay, so I'd say the
change.
font in mine is pretty good. That was
From
after Mike read it.
a piece of feedback, we'll say. Yes, he was it's I'm
Oh,
gonna paraphrase, but he was like, "My old eyes can't see this, so I have to buy it on ebook too."
oh, man. You're like, "That was the plan."
Mhm. And I was like, I had no idea how this worked, and I was like, maybe if I make it really tall and I make it really skinny by putting 400 words on a page when 300 is about average, I'll make more money because it'll be cheaper to print.
There you go.
I'm trying to shave off pennies. And so, I don't know if it makes a difference, but you learn with your first book. You don't ever just build something perfect
Right.
the very first
Oh
time.
yeah. Just so is life, right? That's how it goes with everything.
Absolutely.
Rosaire's here. Thanks for being here. And then people are saying you nailed the impression there.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. If writing and engineering and running for governor don't work out, maybe I'll do impressions and audiobook readings.
Yes, yes, yes. Now you said engineering.
Hmm.
You're an engineer, right?
Yes, sir. Went to Texas A&M for petroleum engineering and
Ooh.
went through a layoff, and I was like, this shit sucks. So went from the upstream to the midstream side, and the midstream is more pipeline
Okay.
transportation for hydrocarbon products. And there's stability there. I've survived 4 or 5 layoffs, so I've been pretty fortunate throughout that. But it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I bet.
There is nothing scarier. So writing a book, some people get very nervous about.
Mhm.
It's easy to write a book, like I said, audacity. When you get laid off at 23, 2 days before your mortgage starts,
That's a little scary.
that's a little scary. So,
Definitely.
everything is I'm able to be pretty chill with it. I get a 1-star review, it hurts me and I feel bad for the rest of the day, but I'm able to get over it. Um, so, that's just one of the things about being an author or an artist in general. You put
Right.
something out into the world, and whether someone has a good day, bad day, loves it, hates it, that is the way they experienced it. And you kind of just have to live with it. Not much you can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. You gotta have
But
the thick
everyone who
skin, right?
puts a 5-star review on Goodreads get $10 sent to them in the mail.
Seems to be working well, huh?
Mhm. I started that after getting some 2 and 3 stars. I'm like, okay, we gotta raise these
Gotta ramp
reviews.
this up.
Everybody gets a $5 Amazon gift card.
Oh, man. I like it. You said you're a Titans fan, right?
Unfortunately,
Are you
yes,
still a Titans fan?
I am. It's
What
getting harder and harder to be one, but yes, I
what
still watch them every Sunday.
what was Will Levis doing with that throw? Was that last week or the week before?
He has just as much audacity as I do.
He's a
Um,
gunslinger.
he's done it twice in a row. I don't know if you saw the second round. So
Oh, I don't
the
think I
second
did see
one,
the
he
second one.
evaded a sack and threw it, fell down, and went. That was week 1, and that's a good meme or screenshot for
Yeah. Oh,
anyone in
yeah, for
chat.
sure.
So let's make that a emoji in Discord. And then the second week, he's rolling out, running, and he gets tripped up and he falls forward, and he's like parallel with the ground, and he tries to like throw the ball to a
Oh, yeah.
receiver,
Yes.
dribbles it, and it was
That's
a
the one I
backwards
saw.
pass, so it was a fumble recovery. Just
Rough.
second-year quarterback, the
Mhm.
youngest line in all of football. We have a 21-year-old, 23-year-old, 26-year-old, 25-year-old, and a 26-year-old. So we
That's
have the
pretty young.
youngest line in the NFL. All of his wide receivers are new except for DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre
Mhm.
Hopkins is walking out on a cane at the moment.
Right, yeah,
So he's
uh,
one of the best all time, but I'm just teasing him because he causes me suffering now, as
right.
opposed to being on the Texans causing me
Yes,
suffering.
now it's the other way around, but your team has sweet uniforms, though. I mean,
Oh, the
that
uniforms are
powder blue,
so
man,
good.
so nice.
We
Looks
also did get Chris Johnson and Derrick Henry, so,
yes.
both 2,000-yard rushers. We have 2 of the 9, I think, 2,000-yard rushing seasons. I perfectly content with that,
Oh, yeah,
but a Super Bowl would be great.
that would be. Currents
Okay,
is not as bad as being a Browns fan. Oof. Hey, when I'm a Lions fan, they're rolling right well, not right now, but they are good now, but I was right there with you, man. The Lions and the Browns were tough sledding for a long time, so
the
it's
Browns
great knowing 17 seasons.
the Browns is the only organization I give people permission to leave. Like, when you pick your team, that's kinda your team for the rest of your life, and
Right.
it just
Oh,
is
yeah.
the way it
Whether
is,
they
and
are
if you're a
bad or
Chiefs
good.
fan now and you're not over 25, I don't
Right.
trust you. Um,
Oh, yeah, I agree.
and same thing with, Tim being a Giants fan,
I
that's
was gonna
tough.
say,
However, you
that
have
is
2 Super Bowls. Eli is the funniest quarterback in the world,
that is
beats
true.
Tom Brady. I'm sorry about Saquon, but he did just drop that pass, so you are living pretty good. So you're fine.
John, you're having a good time right now. Saints fan. They're surprising right now. And I think we can all agree it was just nice to see the Cowboys get beat. So
I grew up in Arlington, which is where the new Cowboy Stadium is. And there's a reason I'm not a Cowboys fan. It's because I grew up with Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
They are
different breed.
I won't say they're the worst fans. Eagles fans, and just personally because I grew up a Vikings fan, Packers fans. So green teams, evil green teams. Yes, man. When did this book chat become a football channel?
I don't know. I was just, as soon as you said you're a Titans fan, all I could think about was that throw, and I had to ask you.
My fantasy football team is rocking this season.
Is it?
Yeah, this past week, I had 3 guys go above 100 yards in our season, or our league. You get a 6-point bonus if they go above 100 yards. So, man, I scored like 140 points in non-PPR. So I was like, I went Super Saiyan this week. It was fantastic.
Alex, are you a Cowboys fan? I didn't know this about you.
Oh, we can forgive you.
Yeah, what? Luckily, you're super cool, so it's all right. It's all right.
You know, what are this? Not all Cowboys fans. Some of you are normal.
We got a lot of different fans in here. Josh here likes the Eagles. I'm guessing that's what Birds is Eagles, right?
Yep. Skull is Vikings.
Oh yeah, we got Vikings. All right, Bo. All right. So how did you grow up a Vikings fan and then end up a Titans fan? How'd that happen?
Wonderful story. My parents are both from the north. My dad's from just south of Minneapolis, and my mom was born in North Dakota. And they met and moved down to Arlington. Mom got a job down there. It was either Arlington or Baltimore. And they didn't really care for city living, like big, high density city living. And so Arlington was rather small suburb at the time, not what it is now.
Right.
DFW has 9.5 million people. So I grew up a Vikings fan, grew up with Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, 3 Deep, the Purple People Eaters. Absolutely loved the Vikings. Adrian Peterson. And then there was a coach in there, Mike Tice. Mike Tice threw the ball backwards more than he did forward, and his favorite play was hand the ball off and run it right into the center and fall down for a loss of 1 yard. And so during that time, my dad was a very unhappy Vikings fan, and I was like 9 or 10 years old.
Okay.
And then my best friend introduced me to college football, and he was a fan of the University of Texas. But I followed them for the season with Vince Young. Went 13-0, won the Rose Bowl and the national championship, beat Matt Leinart, beat Reggie Bush, and one of the most exciting games I think that has ever been played in college football. My mom let me stay up past my bedtime, and I followed Vince Young to the Titans. Then he and the coach left after 2 years, and you know, when you pick a team when you're 10, you're stuck with them.
Sticking with them. Yep. Oh, that is good. That was it makes sense. It tracks. Yep. I get it.
And it's funny because I went to A&M for school, and then I went to OU for my graduate degree. And so we are a very horns down household.
I was gonna say that's interesting.
The Longhorns are kicking ass this year. Arch Manning, Quinn Ewers, man, both of those guys are studs, and they're on the same team.
You can't go wrong with either one.
Yeah,
I know. I wonder if Ewers will be able to get his job back. I feel like Arch Manning's going to tear it up.
Yeah, if Arch gets another 4 touchdown game against a top 10 opponent, he probably doesn't get it back. There's I feel so bad for the kid because there's so much more commercial viability with Manning as your last name.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So he'll go to the league, get drafted in the top 10, and make millions of dollars. So I really don't feel that bad.
Right. He'll be all right.
He'll be all right. He will be all right. I believe in him.
Yep. Tim makes a good point. How college football you going?
Especially in the first 2 weeks.
The spreads are wild. It's crazy.
Alabama playing Northeastern Southern Nazarene Christian University, team 2 from the South Side. And you've got your third stringers in, and it's 72-0.
Yeah, it's rough. Oh man. All right. So what's next? I know you've got plans for this whole series. You talked about book 2 and 3. So what are you working on right now? You're still working on book 2?
Still
Like
working on book
writing or
2. It's 90% the way there.
okay.
And so right now,
You're
I
almost there.
guess I'll make a live open invitation.
All
I
right.
have some beta readers right now. So Bibliotheory, Aaron just got it this morning or is going to start on it. Joshua Walker, another
Nice.
author and one of my favorite reviews of all time on Lost Souls, um, is beta reading it right now. He wrote a review that really understands like the Parkway Drive connection. And so if you look at all of the chapter titles, there's song names that have lyrics just below them. And
Oh,
the
right.
whole book follows a music album. And Josh knew that from the very beginning. And
Ah,
like kind of he was the first one I told people, it's like, this reviewer, he got it.
get it.
I was like, I spent 2 years on this thing, and you don't know when people are going to pick up the
Right.
Easter eggs or the references. And I was like, boom, 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 boom. He got it every time. And it was just so cool to see.
That is awesome.
Um, so they're beta reading it right now. If anyone has read Lost Souls and would like to beta read Eternal Dreams, let me know and I'll send it over to you. It's all the way up until being ready to be proofread. So, you know, there might be some missing commas, but as the story goes, it's almost done. Maybe changing up some sentences for like clarity. Sometimes you just miss a word here and there. So that's kind of where Eternal Dreams is at. And once I get to Eternal Dreams being done before I publish it, I read
Mhm.
it a couple times and take a few passes, and then I start to work on the edit or planning of the next book. So that if something comes up and I'm like, I would really like for this to happen, but that's a plot hole in book 2. I need to add a sentence that says, here is the thing that I'm going to tell you about in book 3. Don't pay attention to this, but I'm setting it up as canon. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay.
It
That
was
sounds good.
he did it the entire time, or you knew about it. It was
Yeah.
real. It wasn't shoehorned in at the 98th minute.
No, no, no. Of course not. Oh, that sounds good, man. So I'll wait till later. Every time we talk about the book, I have so many things I want to ask you about. But anyway, we'll wait for that. So 2 questions, 2 things I want on the spot. I want you to tell me. 1, what's your favorite book of all time or series, book or series that you've read? It's tough.
Am I allowed to choose nonfiction?
Yes.
Okay. The Innovator's Dilemma.
Oh,
BRB.
Innovator's Dilemma. Oh, well, you probably have it if it's your favorite.
Clayton Christensen,
Okay.
just a brilliant human being, and he's written a couple books. But it talks about the concept of innovating against yourself. Because when someone becomes a market leader, they have a tendency to become stagnant. And the perfect example of this is Kodak in the 80s. They invented the digital camera, and then they put it in a back room and said, we don't want this out in the world because it will hurt film, real like physical film
Right.
sales. And the patent ran out or something, and people started making digital cameras and essentially ruined Kodak's dominance in
Yeah.
the photo industry. Had they just released the
Right.
digital camera for the while they had the patent, they would be the equivalent of Apple today if they continued on that same trend. And I apply it to today with Apple as a product. They have the phone, the iPad, the earbuds, the watches, the whole ecosystem, but it's relatively just the same products over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And I think it was Huawei is a phone manufacturer in
yeah,
Asia.
yeah.
I'm not 100% sure what country they're from.
Uh,
It might be a Chinese phone manufacturer,
yeah, it
but
could
they
be.
just came out, instead of a single fold, it's a tri-fold phone that acts or doubles as a tablet. It comes with the case, it comes with the earbuds, it comes with
Oh
the
man.
car charger, it comes with 2 cables, all in one box. And so if you're not innovating against yourself, someone will innovate against you. And so that kind of just helps me. Hey, you're never going to be the same person. Don't be the same person. Always try and take that next step into being who the new version of you is.
Okay.
So
Very interesting.
I didn't let you answer
I
or ask your second question. Sorry for jumping
no,
right into
you
it.
were still answering the first one. That's
Hmm.
all right.
Hmm.
Well, now I wonder. I was gonna say, who's your favorite author
Hmm.
that you've read?
So, because I'm a relatively new reader, I have limited exposure. So, I'll
Mhm.
give an answer that kind of goes with my ages. When I was younger, the author of the Magic Tree House chapter books.
Oh, nice.
That was where I got my start in reading, and I read
Mhm.
every single one. Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate
Yeah.
Events. That series was absolutely my favorite as I was getting into junior high. Um, the author of The Hatchet, I'm blanking on the name, but The Hatchet was another absolute bomb of a book that I
Oh
loved.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Um, Pierce Brown, just for recency
Mhm.
bias,
Yeah, same here.
and then Brandon Sanderson for teaching me the craft of writing. I haven't read any of his books, but
Okay.
I've watched every single one of his college lectures
Oh yeah,
and
those are great.
podcast with Dan Wells.
Oh yeah.
And so
Mhm.
I enjoy them as human beings
Mhm.
and for what they've taught me.
Right. I agree. Yeah. Same here. I have read some of his books though.
I want to start on the Way of Kings so bad, and everyone's like, "Don't start on the Way of Kings," and I'm like, "But I'm awesome. I'll
I
get
can
it.
do it.
I can do it."
Oh man,
So,
I'm sure you
especially
could.
with Wind and Truth coming out, it's
Mhm.
kind of kicking me into gear to try and finally pick
Yep.
it up. I won't have time; like it'll release before I ever get through
Oh
that
yeah.
that many words. But I think what is it? The first half is now done. Book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
That's that first half of
Yeah.
Stormlight Archive, and then 6
Right.
through 10. Oh, he's a madman.
Oh yeah, I know it's crazy. But yeah, you
Hmm.
definitely could start with Way of Kings. Like
Okay.
I'm actually reading it right now. I read Mistborn Era 1 and then I
Hmm.
read Warbreaker and Elantris and like I liked them all, but I
Hmm.
Way of Kings is awesome. But it is very long.
I'm
So
going to circle back. Another book that I really loved was All
uh
Quiet on the Western Front.
oh,
It's a very powerful
that
book,
is a very powerful
and for
book.
someone who's not really exposed to the world or the atrocities of man, getting that in depth and
Mhm.
personal with the suffering of war is a very powerful experience, and I recommend everyone to read it just so you can understand what that feels like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Looks like Corinne DNF'd Way of Kings.
Curran has specific tastes.
Okay.
He is a man who knows what he enjoys.
That's good. That's a good
Hmm.
thing. DNFing can be hard, but I think it's a good thing.
We
There's too many
had the
books.
DNF King in the chat a little bit
Yes.
earlier,
You was. He
and
was definitely
I'm gonna
Andrew.
say this out loud now that the buddy reads over. I only, not only, but a small piece of me started the buddy read in his channel so
Mhm.
he couldn't DNF it. I gamed the system. Maybe he would have,
I'm
maybe he
just a
wouldn't
cat
have.
track.
He did say the first 3 chapters were really boring, so there was a high likelihood that he
He's
would have DNF'd it
brutally
without that
honest,
buddy
yeah.
read. And I was
I
like,
did see
all
that.
of your feedback is completely fair. I tried to do too much. Like I said, I'm new around here. I get it. I
Yeah,
totally
yeah, yeah.
understand. It's not for
But
everybody.
I did like in the beginning, I liked how it was almost like you showed like some snapshots through Maximus's life to kind of
Mhm,
show how he meets Ratchet and how
mhm,
all these things happen. Instead of taking like half the book to do that, you kind of showed like here's a snapshot in his life at this age. Here's a snapshot here. So I thought that was a good way to do it. I thought that was a good way to give some backstory and then get right into it.
Some people don't like prologues, and chapter 1 was a prologue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first scene was a prologue for the world,
Uh-huh.
and the first scene with Maximus in it was his prologue where he met Ratchet.
Hmm.
Um, and that was shortened by about 3,000 words because I
Wow.
originally said, hey, they're on Earth. They had to build railguns. They used the railguns to launch the ships into space. The ships crashed. Some of them didn't. Some people are still floating out there in cryofreeze forever. That didn't make it in the final cut, but I wish it did because that's a horrible concept to think about, but it's
And
really cool.
that is, that is. You
I was
gotta add
like,
it back in.
it's I
Sneak it in there.
when you're a writer or when you're a creative and you come up with something that you are just like, that was bars, and then you
Hmm.
have to delete it, it's like taking a part of your soul. I was like, the
Painful.
ship that missed the asteroid system, all of the passengers lived within the paradox of existence, not dead, but never to live again, something like that. I'm like, oh, that was so good.
Dang it. It
You
would
gotta
have
hype
been.
yourself up. Hmm.
Oh man. Well, like they said, like Curran said in the chat, we'll have to get a Skeff cut
We can do that.
someday.
Maybe
Yeah.
I am hoping to get a website here in the next couple
There you
months just so
go.
I can sell
There you go.
direct to people, and I'll have
Heck yeah.
hardcovers on there.
Oh,
Um,
this would look fantastic in a hardcover, man. That
uh,
cover. Ooh.
Another author thing that you don't think about is, hey, you download the template for this paperback directly from Amazon, and then hey, I need a hardcover. The dimensions are different, and so you have to rehire your artist to fill in
Oh
the
yeah.
rest of the
That's so
page.
true.
So I got that filled in about 6-8 months later, and so the hardcovers will come out book 1 and book 2 after it releases,
Oh,
or
nice.
potentially pre-order to coincide
Yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah.
release of book 2.
Okay. What are you shooting for book 2? Like when you want to release it?
You know, when I released Lost Souls, I almost said, "Oh, let's do another October release. Just one a year, get them done, get them knocked out."
Hmm.
Everyone is like, "Oh, yeah, you need to release one book a year if you want to be an author." And I'm like, "I really don't want to be an author. I got a day job."
Yeah.
Um, and as I was getting through the summer editing, and I was like, "This needs more time. It's getting better with every pass. I'm getting more readers. I'm getting feedback. They're making it better. Don't rush it." And so instead of October, I pushed it back to December. And now my artist got hired by Warhammer, and he's kind of like getting paid real money instead of like freelancer money. And so I'm on the back burner on there. And
Uh,
so now it might be February or March. And that lets me open it up to more beta readers and say, hey, do you want to
right.
read this? Do you want to help me make it better? I probably won't do a whole lot of like arc reading just
Right.
because um this isn't my day job. I'm
Right.
just going to
Yeah.
put it out there. This is a
Right.
sequel, so you have to read the first one before you can
Right.
read the second
Oh
one.
yeah. Right.
I'll do some marketing and say, hey, if you want the first one, I'll send it to you for free.
Yeah.
Um, there is no gatekeeping here. I just want people to read it,
Yeah. You just
to
want to
talk
share it.
about it.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
just talk about the little Easter eggs. And so February, March of next year, it'll be out, and then 2026 mid to late summer is probably when I'll target
Okay.
it. I know exactly how it's going to end, and it's an even bigger twist than the first one,
Ah,
and I think it's going to piss people
I
off
can't take it,
so
man.
much. Oh man, I want to talk about it so badly, but I can't. Like, no one talks to you about that. Like when you have good ideas and you
Oh
have
yeah.
to keep it secret forever, and there's no one, and you're just like
So long. You
bursting
have
at
to
the
wait.
seams. Yeah.
Well, I guess you'll be able to talk to your beta readers soon, right?
So I think I am smart on occasion. I stagger my beta readers so
Okay.
that as they read scene 1 and give me comments, I go and edit scene 1. Hey, thanks, Pepe. I
Heck yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you. Give it till chapter 5. That's when things go crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't say, all right, January 1st, beta readers, I need your feedback by March 1st. I'm going to take all your feedback and fix the book. Beta reader 1 gets it. He reads scene 1. Beta reader 2 gets an edit of scene 1. And then beta reader
Oh,
3 gets the second edit of scene
okay.
1. And then 4
That's
gets the
smart.
fourth edit. So it's like a
Yeah.
cascading waterfall of hopefully improved novel.
All right. Cool. All right. Two things.
Yep.
One, EL said that talking about the cover and like making it bigger and stuff.
Mhm,
Maybe
mhm.
that's what he's talking about. But he said reach out.
Okay.
He can help you with that. And then Alex wants to know about your shirt. Are you a One Piece fan?
Yeah. What else do I have in here? Okay, so we'll back up on the shirt. This is a Luffy shirt. One Piece is the greatest television product, manga, anime show, creative piece of literature of all time. It started, I think, 1999, still going on. It has everything. It's a story about pirates and Luffy's journey to become the king of the pirates, but it talks about everything in the world. It talks about genocide, slavery, love, romance, war, immigrants, everything that we as a human society deal with. He interjects in this
Right.
fantastical world of magic and pirates and fighting, and it obviously, the anime is a little bit slow because it's at 1,120 episodes.
Oh man.
It's still going. He's got
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
5 or 6 years. Okay, we'll see. We're doing this live, so forgive me if I screw this up. Alex, this is for you.
Oh, let's see it.
So I
Oh,
got
dang.
from my best friend a painting of Wano Zoro, and okay, we're back. We're good.
You got
All
it.
right,
That was well
fantastic.
done, man. Well done.
And I joke at the artist because he put a cigarette in Zoro's mouth, and Sanji is the character who smokes, and so
Okay.
on his Instagram he photoshopped out the cigarette, but I have the original.
Yes, that's even cooler.
Yeah, so I love One Piece. I love a lot of anime. Anything with turn your brain off, explosions, superheroes,
Oh yeah.
fighting, superpowers, just
Heck
kind of
yeah.
like your comic books, your
Mhm.
action Marvel movies, anything like that is amazing. Read or watch.
Yep.
I'm a watcher only right now. I think voice actors elevate manga to a level that I personally, because I don't have the ability to imagine things in my mind, like on a scale of 1 to 5 of like the apple thing where you can envision a 3D red apple, and then on the other side you get a black outline. I'm closer to that side, and so reading manga panels, I
Mhm.
just get the manga panel.
Right.
So the
Right.
animation really helps me have an elevated experience.
Well, and it's step for step, right? I mean, the anime and the manga, because I started reading the manga, but I mean, there's so much. I kind of just want to start watching the anime.
So the anime has the unfortunate condition of animating a
Mhm.
weekly manga.
Right.
Other shows and series, they'll animate the first season,
Yeah.
take 9 months off, let the guy catch up.
Right.
Oda just there's a chapter every
Yeah.
single week, and so they just animate an episode. And for the times that he does need a break, there's small amounts of filler. But the way they get around that is the episode pacing is abysmal. It's
Okay.
so bad. It's like if a character wants to throw a punch, they look like they're going to throw a punch. And then they wind back like they're going to throw a punch. And then the camera angle shifts so you can see the fist like this. And then
Yeah.
the punch will start. And then we'll go over to the other character and be like, oh no, I'm going to get punched. And then the punch begins. And then 5 or 10 seconds later, the punch actually happens. And you're like, that was a 3-second scene that you just turned into 27 seconds, and I
Right.
get it, but you just
It
kind of have
adds
to
up.
deal with it. You just kind of have to deal with it.
Oh yeah,
And
for sure.
now that we're talking about One Piece, Alex, you derailed me completely. The episodes have a 5-minute recap. And so they play the end
Oh.
of last episode for the first 5 minutes, and then they play the title, which is another 2 minutes, and you're 7 minutes in, and then you start the episode. And Alex has a great point. One Piece isn't bad with
Yeah.
filler.
There
It's
are worse.
only 9% or so of filler. Bleach is the worst. I think it's at
Never
like
watched that one.
46%, 42% of all the episodes are filler.
Mm.
So One Piece is stellar. It just does have a pacing issue, and that's why we watch One Piece. And they're reanimating it from ground zero next year, I think.
Oh really?
A whole new studio, Wit
Oh dang.
Studio, is starting from the very beginning with
Really?
proper pacing because they now have like 1,200 chapters to go off of. So I'll
Wow.
be watching it currently and
And then starting
rewatching
over.
it. Oh, it's great.
Oh
Okay,
man.
yeah, Current has another great point. Naruto has a
Say
ton of
Naruto.
filler.
Yeah. Yep. I think that was the first anime my son got into. That was the first one he watched. So I did watch that one a lot with him. I would agree.
People might pick up this one, but I told my wife after she hit me playfully, I was like, don't do that again. I will 10,000 years of death you. And that's Naruto or Kakashi's joke.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did she get the reference? Did she watch anime with you?
She's actually seen more of Naruto than I have.
Nice. Okay. That's cool.
She's finished Shippuden, and I am still watching Shippuden. I didn't connect with Naruto as much as maybe everyone else did.
Okay. Timothy's talking about Dragon Ball Z here.
I can't even mention Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball so much.
Oh yeah.
Every
Classic.
kid wants to be a Super Saiyan. I think I made a Super Saiyan joke earlier in the show.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, find out next episode on Dragon Ball Z.
That's pretty
They
good.
scream for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, it's all coming back to me. That's so true. Oh man. Did you I think one of my favorite recent animes and manga, did you read Vinland Saga? Or
So I
watch it?
know of Vinland Saga, and it's on my list. I just haven't watched it yet.
pretty
Season
good.
2 just came out, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, all right.
There's
So
too
then
many.
I know there's just too many things in general.
We still haven't even gotten to the second question.
Yeah, we did.
What was the
Who's
second
your favorite author?
That was the second question?
Yeah, the first one was your favorite book.
Oh, okay. See, I'm losing my mind.
You mentioned comics before we started talking about manga. I do like
Mhm.
Full Metal Alchemist too, Alex. That's
Yep.
true. It's good.
You know, I didn't even consider it. I would call Eiichiro Oda an author. So
That's true.
that's top of the list. He's top of the
true.
list.
So comics wise, what
Mhm.
comics do you like? Or comic
So
based things like
this is a conversation I am not qualified to have. I'm the guy who just scrolls the pages to look at the cool pictures. I couldn't
Mhm.
care less what it says or who the characters are. I'm like, this is a picture book. And so I don't
that is half the fun.
I don't look through a lot of comics very often. I actually just gave one of my coworkers like a box of 60 of my comics. I was like,
Nice.
he's a comic guy. He collects them. He gets them rated, graded, pressed, stapled, sealed in the large plastic containers, and puts them in a safety deposit
So
box.
he's
He's in. Yeah.
He's probably like on a yacht somewhere now. You probably had something in there that was worth a lot of money. You should have checked first.
If there was something valuable in there, it would have taken him to know it was valuable.
Yeah,
So
you wouldn't have known.
no, these are all paperweights.
Yeah. I was just gonna throw them away. You can have them if you want. I don't
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. I was like, my mom moved out of our childhood house into a new house. And so she was like, here's a box of your stuff. This box right here. It's got like game balls from baseball games and comic books and things from my room.
Right.
And I was like, I don't need these, and handed them off. And I was like, hey, do with what you will these bad boys.
There you go. I'm sure he appreciated it.
Yeah, he's got I think it was the first Spider-Man comic book with Wolverine on the cover. So like he from the 1950s, 60s, whatever. He's got some really cool ones in there.
Yeah, he does. That's probably worth a pretty penny, I'm sure.
He's going to be able to retire one of these days.
I always wonder about that stuff though. Like, that's all worth so much money, but like, are you really going to be able to get money from that stuff? I mean, maybe comics, I guess there are a lot of collectors that would pay the money for it, but some things it's like when you see, all right, this is an example. So like a couple years ago, my wife's mom and grandma, they wanted to have a garage sale. I tried to tell them like, let's just use Facebook Market. Like nobody does garage sales anymore, but they wanted to do one anyway. They wanted to use my garage. So they did, and she has all these old Beanie Babies, and she's like, well, you look through these and see if any of them are worth anything. So I started looking through them, and she had some that had like some errors on them that made them worth something.
Okay.
So I looked it up, and some of them say they're worth thousands or whatever. I don't know if they were or not, but anyway, those are the things I think, like, is there really somebody out there that's going to buy a Beanie Baby for $7,000 because it has red leg instead of a blue leg? You know what I mean? Those are
Yeah.
the things I wonder. Like, I don't know.
I think there are definitely people out there who will buy something just so that other people can't have it. And
That's a fair point. That's a fair
yeah.
point.
So I could see comics being one of those things. Baseball cards is one of those
Oh
things.
yeah,
Or
baseball
sports
cards.
cards in general.
Yep.
Beanie Babies. Yeah, that's exactly what I started thinking of when you were talking. And
Yep.
I think about the courtroom video where a couple was getting divorced and they one at a time drafted their Beanie Babies to take with them.
Oh, I did not know about that.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, looking back at it, funny and a little bit embarrassing, but they were taking it very seriously. Dressed in like church attire, courtroom, on the ground, one at a time, picking them out.
What in the world? That's insane.
People are silly.
They are. Very. That is sad. I think people agree with you. All right. So you mentioned video games. So are you a big gamer now, or were you a big gamer when you were younger? Both?
It is an addiction that I cannot shake. Right now,
don't shake it. Embrace it.
So my favorite game of all time is StarCraft 2.
Nice.
I actually played it collegiately at A&M. I was master's level Protoss player, and I got a 2.9 GPA my freshman year, and I was like, I have to quit video games because I'm not smart enough to do school and pro gaming. Very fortunate I did. Got my degree, got a job, and life's good. But then after I finished school, I picked up League of Legends, which is even worse for your mental health and your time and just friends. And so I played that for OU when I went and got my graduate degree. And so for a long while, I played League, and I've been playing TFT. Zergs are the bane of my existence. Very well met, Tim. We'll have to play together sometime. I think I can get up to like high plat or diamond. So Alex, you're right on the same thing. I had to ban myself from League, and so I would only play like Hearthstone, which is a card game, and Teamfight Tactics, which is like a turn-based game where it really doesn't mean anything. And then I started playing ranked League of Legends 2 weeks ago, and I can't stop. Man. I play like 6 games a day. Why do you think Eternal Dreams is now delayed to February of next year? Did I get to Kindred? Yes, I did play all the way through Kindred. I started playing League in Season 3. And, Tim, you're so right. Can we highlight Tim? I'm a main too. And so, everyone blames the support for their trash ass AD carries and mid laners. It's not our fault. We're all better than you. Good reads can do no wrong. So support players unite. You will all be my best friends. We'll sit around the campfire and flame our ADCs.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so that doesn't even get to the inspiration of Lost Souls. We're going to bring it all the way back now.
Yes.
Halo 3 was the first Xbox game that I got when I started high school in 2009, I think it was. Played campaign, multiplayer, solos, duos, fours, Forge, where you got to like make your own map, make your own games, and just, man, I played that for ages. And I'll bring up the cover one more time.
Yes, I was gonna say
this is a gravity hammer.
Yep. I was saying that I didn't even think about that when I looked at the cover, but now that's all I see.
It's clear as day. And so Ratchet is actually in book 2. Here's a spoiler: getting a energy sword. But instead of like a handheld energy sword, it's going to be mounted on a VAM brace, and it's going to pop out and pop back in. So it never ends. And who knows? Maybe I'll bring the Flood into book 3. So we'll see what happens.
There you go. I like it.
And then obviously I played every single Call of Duty. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4. There's too many. I can't keep up.
Oh yeah, there is. How many did you say you played?
I've probably bought 12 Call of Duties. Which
You bought
is
every single one that
yeah.
comes out.
I think after Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 5, I was like, I'm done.
Gotta stop.
I'm done. I bought Black Ops 4 and played Warzone because when I was a Twitch streamer, battle royales were like
Oh
huge,
yeah,
and so Warzone and Fortnite and PUBG were all the
right.
rage. So played Fortnite for 2 years, got up to triple digit wins, had a ton of fun. Had to go back to work, so I kind of had to put Twitch on the back burner.
Yep. Looks like we got a couple questions here.
Yes. So I actually do have aspirations to run for governor in 2030.
That is
Funny
awesome.
story. I moved to Oklahoma in 2017, and you have to be a resident for 10 years. I moved to Oklahoma in January 7th of 2017, and the next governor will be what is the word, made governor, I can't think of the word, sworn in. He will be sworn in January 7th 2027. But they said I hadn't established residency, but it was to the day 10 years, and I was like, damn it, that would have been really good timing.
Yeah, it would have been.
So I have to wait for the next election.
Okay. All right. How can we as out of staters vote for this? Are
So
we
this is something you won't be able to vote for unless
dang
you
it.
want to move down to the mediocre
Uh,
state
how,
of Oklahoma.
how
Don't
long do we
bring
have to
your
live there for?
kids. I think just a couple months enough to establish
Oh,
residency.
all right. All right.
So I think if you
We're on it.
purchase property, that's day one. If you have a job, that's day one.
Mhm.
I lost my train of thought. But one of the reasons why I'm starting a website is politics is really hard to talk about with a lot of people because, like football, if you're on the wrong team, you're the devil. Or you're an Eagles fan and I'm a Cowboys fan, and we have no reconciliation between the two of us. And one thing my dad always said was, "Your team Skeff, you can always come home. So no matter where I go in the world, I'm always welcome back."
Yeah.
And so I want to extend that concept, that team, that message to the rest of the world. If you need a place to be, you can be on my team. And so I'm getting a website up. I'm gonna get a email chain going, and so just write about life. Do interviews like this. Hey,
Mhm.
come join my team. I'm gonna try and start posting on TikTok and Instagram, and I absolutely hate that, but it helps to get the message out there.
Yeah.
I love writing blogs and LinkedIn posts, and so email newsletters is a way to reach people.
Hmm.
And I think at the end of the day, we want someone who's going to look out for us and then get out of our way. We,
Right.
we really, the best leader is the one you never have to think about because you
Yeah.
trust them to get the job done,
Right.
and you never have to double check if they're screwing you over.
Yeah.
And so that's my aim. My mom, when we were growing up, used to always say, "I don't want the government telling me what light bulb I can put in." And so I come from a pretty conservative Republican background,
Yeah.
but I try and say, "Hey, everyone's welcome on my team." Um, Another quote that I absolutely love just repeating is, "Politicians are nothing but liars, cheaters, and crooks." And I would always say, "Well, why don't good people run?" And she was like, "It
Mhm.
doesn't work like that." And it never sat right with me.
Right.
And I understand that the incentives for running for political office can be very misconstrued if you go down the wrong way. It, it is difficult. I understand. And so I'm going to give it my best go, and we'll see what happens in Oklahoma.
That's awesome, man. I love that. I love your concept there. I think that will resonate with people, especially with the way politics has been. It's just so
Mhm.
divisive and can stir up so much stuff. Like I think that's the perfect way to approach it.
hmm
I think it's
I,
awesome.
I struggled. I watched a TikTok of Lex Friedman. He's a wonderful interviewer, gets a lot of high profile individuals.
Mhm.
He had a guest on, and the guest was like, "Oh, I loved Bernie Sanders. Great guy. Absolutely. I trusted him. He was a wonderful candidate, but he refused to attack people. And that's the reason he lost. He wouldn't demean people, he wouldn't bring them down, he wouldn't bring up their past mistakes." And I'm like, hold on a second. that's something I admire, I look
Right.
up to. That's the
Mhm.
way it should be. And
Right.
he's like, that's the reason he lost. And I was like, well, I'm not going to go down that route. So
Right.
if I lose, I'll know that I did it my way and I
Yep.
did it the
Exactly.
way that I can sleep well at night.
Yeah. That's good. That's awesome, man. Just saw a post on here from Novel Insights. Logan, welcome in, man. He agrees. That's right. Be respectful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the way to
Everyone
be. That's what
shake
it's all
hands and
about.
go home at the end of the day, live your own lives.
Right. Right. Yep. Yep. I agree. All right. So it has been, where's it at? So we're over an hour. What do you think about getting a little spoilery here?
I think let's do a round of questions for anyone who doesn't want spoilers. If anyone has any more
Yes. Yes.
questions before we go into spoilers, feel free to ask Chris any question. It is his channel. What's his favorite book? What's his favorite author? Why does he have a beard and why did he name his channel that way?
Oh man, those are good questions.
You have a collection of painted edges that are gorgeous, except the purple ones look like they're out of order.
They could be. They could be. No,
I'm not sure. Okay. I was thinking of the one that has the blimps
down there.
Okay.
That's the Dandelion Dynasty.
Is it Ken Liu?
Midnight Edition. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, those are all broken binding ones up there.
Those are fantastic.
They are. They are. Those subscription services get you though, man.
I do my best disciplinary work at the point of purchase. So when I'm at the grocery store, no ice cream, no soda, no snack cakes. As soon as it's in my house, wow, I just had 4 of those. How did that happen? And so I can't subscribe to like broken binding, sci-fi or fantasy fiction.
Dangerous.
Yeah, extremely. I got conditioner to buy. I can't buy books.
That's true. You got your expensive conditioner.
Who knows? Hey, I'll get a haircut and then I'll be able to afford books.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yep. Yep. There you go.
Jim. Good to see you, my friend.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, I think we gave him a fair shot.
We did.
Ask questions. Hop out of the chat if you don't want any spoiler discussion of the Lost Souls. My one personal thought about this, if you haven't read Lost Souls, hearing the spoilers might actually make the book better. So we'll see. We'll see. Possibly, maybe. Who knows?
So,
all right, fire away. I've been looking forward to this for ages.
All right. So, yes, Aaron, we are still live. We're about to talk spoilers.
Perfect man to jump in for spoiler chat.
All right. So, if you're watching the replay, we're going to talk spoilers. So, if you are going to purchase the book and you want to read it with no spoilers, which you should, there'll be a link in the description.
Tim's a real one. Yes.
He's staying. All right, Timothy. See you, man. Appreciate you being here. The blue flowers.
See you, bud.
You too. All right.
Heaven Sunrise.
So
Chef's kiss of a name.
Yes. All right, man. Where do I start? All right.
Start at the end.
I have to start at the end. I have to start at the end. Like we talked about it a little bit. Like right before we came on, we were talking about it. And thanks, Mike. And so the ending just took me by complete surprise. Like you said, what would happen if the good guy lost, right? So the whole book, your main focus is Maximus. Oh, hold on. Hopefully, Josh, see you, man. Let's wait a second. Hopefully he left. All right, so the whole book you're following Maximus, and there's side note here. I feel like you wrote the internal dialogue and like him going through grief of losing his father really well. Like I think you did that excellently. So I just wondered when I was reading it, I wondered like, were you pulling from anything like someone that you lost close to in your own life? Because I could feel it, man.
So I wrote this book The idea for the book was serendipitous, but the reason I wrote it is because my father passed away a year prior to me starting writing it. Um, and it was really difficult to process all of that. And writing was a way that I could sit with my feelings and just allow myself to feel the hurt. Because my whole life, I use metal music and loud music in games and whatnot to kind of distract myself from any of the negative feelings as opposed to sitting with them. And this book, writing it and plotting it and experiencing it, allowed me really to just say, hey, I'm a human being.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed to feel this way. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to feel this way. Maybe someone else out there has gone through what I've gone through. And if I can kind of share how I feel through the life and story of a character, maybe that'll help somebody. And so there is a lot of personal anecdotes, Easter eggs. There's a lot of my father in Pentalux. So towards the end of the book, when Kana is giving her final speech before the battle, Max is just kind of sitting on the sectional, just thinking about his dad. And the 5 o'clock shadow was something he used to do to us as kids because he needed to shave in the morning and the evening because he grew facial hair like nobody's business during the day. And he liked being clean shaven. And so after work, he'd come home, give us a big hug, and just sandpaper our face with his. And we'd be like, ah, get away from us. You're evil. You're and so I was able to share a few good memories of my father with the world and carry on his legacy. And that was, I would say, the main foundation of the book was, hey, you as an individual, me as an individual, portraying a little bit onto Maximus, have a good life. You've went through a struggle. You come out on the other side. And this is back to where you get to of what would happen if the good guy lost. And it was more not a warning to myself because I want to run for governor in the future. The serum is a metaphor for absolute power corrupts absolutely, because you saw at the very end, he just, are you okay with me cursing for a little bit?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
He fucked shit up at the end. And there was nothing that could stop him but himself.
Right.
And so you had two paths he could take. He became the most powerful human being in existence in that chapter. And instead of saying, I will be the shepherd towards goodness and compassion and leadership and serving the dredge, he said, nah, fuckers, I'm the guy. I'm him. Ball up top starts with me. And I wanted that to be a, hey, this is what happens if you're not conscientious, you're not focused, and if you get distracted or fall into drinking your own Kool-Aid, this is where you will end up. And so that is always just going to be there as a reminder for me.
Yeah.
Don't end up like that.
Right. That's good.
So that's why the good guy lost.
I agree with Aaron. First of all, how dare you, sir? How dare you make us love this character and then do that?
It was, I think, the moment that I came up with it, I was like, this is the only way I can end it now. And one of the reviewers who read it was like, I'm sad by the ending, but I can't think of a better one. And I'm like, it kind of has to end that way because the hero's journey is Kana's, not Max's. Max didn't start in the ordinary world. Max started at the highest caste and fell, and he was trying to go back up, and he fell again. He lived the Greek tragedy, and Kana started in your ordinary world. Call to action. False start with Eric's the mystery of where did Samuel go. You kind of got that towards the end when they're like, yeah, we have kid farms now for oxygen. Samuel's gone. And so Kana's false start is just one part of her hero's journey. the end of book 1 is her first big failure. That's the end of act 1 for Kana, and so book 2 and book 3 is the rest of her hero's journey. And that was something that happened after I wrote the book. I wrote 90% of the book and I'm like, Maximus is going to win. He's going to be the good guy. Kana really wasn't a point of view character. There was
Right.
maybe a few scenes with her, and
Mhm.
then I was like, he has to lose. He has to die. That his ideals and his way of doing things and his selfishness can't end
Mhm.
up with victory.
Right.
Kana embodies everything that is good with the world, but struggles with everything that makes us human, the self-doubt, the
Right.
loneliness, the isolation, but always working to help other people.
Yeah.
And so uh, there won't be any spoilers, but those same foundational emotional messages that Kana imbues will carry through book 2 and book 3.
That's awesome, man. Um, yeah, I was so that whole final battle, I just kept thinking like, all right, somehow she's gonna like say something to snap him out of it. Ratchet's gonna come along. Something's gonna happen,
Mhm,
and then the old trident through
mhm.
through the back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know where this is
Yeah,
going now.
Eric's would have been just like Perksis
Right?
had Kana not been there. Um, need more hammer action.
Yeah.
The hammer's coming back, and they're
Yes.
not gonna be happy about it.
Oh man.
Um, but that's a character that Perksis is
Yeah.
one that I'm just so sad he didn't get more screen time,
Hmm.
because this is something I learned as an author going through the process, creating characters and whatnot. Readers don't want people, they want characters.
Right.
People are boring.
Yeah.
People make normal decisions. They're not caricatures of a personality.
Right.
They want someone who, like, Goblin, like
Oh yes.
Severo. They
Yes.
they want someone who is a max level charisma or
Right.
max level crazy. They want someone to dive into the normal ho hum human being who, you can kind of tell he's a good guy, but occasionally does something with his vices, and that's really boring in novelization.
Right.
And so I figured that out for book 2, but I wish I got more time with Perksis because he's a 6'6" gladiator
Yes.
killing machine
Pretty sweet.
who literally has no happiness in life except for the sexual satisfaction of killing other people. He's
Right.
a weird motherfucker.
He is. He is. And it's enjoyable.
Oh, he's great. He was so good.
I'm sure he was very fun to write.
It was so fun. Yeah, it's weird to say that, but you get to kind of delve into the weird of your personality, and people are like, "Are you that way?" No, no, I promise. He's a character. It's fake. I pulled
Uh,
American Horror Story and put him in a book. Whatever it takes to get off my back.
oh man. Oh yeah, that's good. It's good, man. But then after when we talked before, you said that what's cool is for people to do a reread now after they
Mhm.
see what happens at the end, because then you can pick up on all the signs that Maximus was heading to this end. And when you
Yeah.
said it, I thought back and I started thinking, oh yeah, probably should have seen that coming.
There's I think it's in chapter 6 or 7 when Kana is showing Maximus the surface for like the first
Oh yeah,
time he's ever really seen it.
yep, yep,
And she's explaining to him, there's no excess. Everything here is for a purpose. That there is no indulgences. Everything is for survival.
hmm,
And at the end of the conversation, he says something that like catches her ear. And she says, is he just obsessed with us? Like, are we a passing
yes,
novelty?
hmm,
Is he serious about us and this mission? Or
hmm,
are we a passing hyperfixation? Does he
right,
have ADHD and he's just because I put that in there when he was reading up on Perksis, the
right,
hyperfixation brood. And so
yeah,
from one hyperfixation to the next, how much does he actually care?
right.
And that's like the first turning point of Kana's seed of doubt.
Yep, that's true. So when did you know that this was going to happen to him before you started writing the book, like when you were planning everything,
No.
or when you were writing it?
Yeah, I got
And how it
90%
sounded
the way
before.
through, and I thought he was gonna be the
Yeah.
savior, kind of
Yeah.
like
Yep.
what in his final speech, it was kind
Yeah.
of along those same lines of he is going to defeat the lower level
Right.
Spectre army and have to go up to the nucleus, kind of like a
Right.
fight a vertical battle. And then towards the end, 85, 90% the way through, I was like, it can't end this way.
Mhm.
And I'll read the quote from the last chapter. Let me make sure I get this right because the last song in Deep Blue is called Set to Destroy. And the song leaves it in an ambiguous way. The character goes through this journey, but you don't know if he comes out a good guy or a bad guy. And they leave it
Right.
a little bit ambiguous. And the quotes are, your flame is faded, so sink below. Rest now your heavy head upon your bed of bones, too far removed, too far to care. And if you
Mhm.
take those lyrics, it doesn't end up with him winning. He's not the
Right.
good guy. He's not the knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
Rest now on your bed of bones is,
Right.
oh, it's so good. And
Good.
I
Good.
have to give credit to Parkway Drive for that one. I didn't come up with that. That's from the song.
Right.
So, spectacular.
It was good. It was good. Now, do you think it kind of this is how I felt like when it
Mhm.
started happening. I think that he part of it too, the power and everything took him over, but I think when you talked about him not being focused, I think he was a little bit blinded by his need for revenge because of his dad.
Mhm.
And I feel like he kind of lost it along that way. He just once he had that power and he was angry, all the emotions and grief and everything he'd been dealing with kind of came out, and then I think that's just kind of how he lost it.
And I would say this is potentially a positive for some readers and a negative for some readers. I let you fill in a lot of gaps. Um, there is a lot of time skips
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
lot of things happen behind the scenes
Right.
because when Max goes and trains, or not, when he goes to work with Galaxus to build
Mhm.
his
Right.
suit and his hammer,
Yep. Yep.
3 months pass. Ratchet and Kana and Maraxa are not just sitting on their hands.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
doing stuff. They're training, they're
Right.
building, they're
Yep.
sending out propaganda, but I don't talk about them. And
Right.
so you kind of have to fill in the blanks of,
Yeah.
oh, these guys are training. They know what they're doing. This thing is
Right.
happening. And so, just like what you said, I didn't give the full emotional, here's my motives, here's my reasons, this
Right.
is why I'm doing this. But just like you said, his dad died, and so there's grief with that. And then he just found out his dad was murdered.
Yes.
And so he's like, I am going on a rampage and I'm coming to get you.
Yes.
He's like, you have lived for too long as the leadership of the rings, and you have been insufficient and wanting.
Yeah.
I'm here to come and change things.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just didn't change it in the right way.
Right. Right. He didn't quite get there, but yes, he
Hmm.
did change things. That is true. How's the reception been of the ending for like comments or reviews or people that you've talked to? Like,
Anyone who talks to me with any level of how do I want to say this? If they talk about the book,
hmm
they love the ending because they didn't see it coming and they
yeah,
couldn't see it happen another way, but they also hate it because that's not how books are supposed to end. The
right,
good guy is supposed to win. Luke Skywalker is not supposed to become Darth Vader.
right,
I think Aaron actually made that comment in one of his reviews or his review of the book.
yeah,
And then there's a lot of people who like the book just doesn't land, and they're like, "This isn't my thing." 2 stars. And
right,
so I don't know how they dealt with the end. Maybe they just didn't like it
right,
altogether, and that's perfectly fine.
right.
This isn't for
To each their
everybody.
own.
To each their own. I'm not a professional author. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who wrote a book. It's okay if you don't like it. I don't. It's not that great. It's not. Guy Gavriel Kay. It's not Christopher Rocchio. It's not Terry Pratchett.
Hey
This is
man,
not Name of the Wind.
but hey, this looks gorgeous, and I had a fun time with it, and I loved it, and I want to get in on that beta for book 2.
Absolutely. I'll
Then I
send it
want to
over
wait.
this
I
evening.
want to see what happens next. So
Aaron
don't
just
sell yourself
posted
short, man.
Aaron just posted my most recent review on
Oh,
Goodreads. It's probably my favorite non like actual review. This book is the equivalent of a Kyle, is what he said. And I was like, I'm gonna put that on a shirt. It's gonna be a bro tank. I'm gonna get me some Pit Viper sunglasses,
oh,
and that's how I'm gonna sell
yes,
books from now on. Oh, I absolutely love it.
that's
And I
awesome.
mean, the person who left that review is not kind to other
Right,
authors,
right,
and so he's just that kind of guy. Don't take it too seriously.
right.
I'm
You just
having
gotta,
too much fun hanging out with people who like it.
heck yeah.
So hopefully book 2 will be good because people who liked book 1 will go into book 2, and book 2 is like book 1 but better
Oh,
from what I got.
excited, man. Oh yeah, good point here, Aaron. I agree. Bam,
I appreciate it, my friend. I really do. Thank you.
100% agree. Um, okay, who was your favorite character in the first book that you created to write? By the end of the book, who's your favorite one?
I think it was Kana.
Okay,
Um,
she's awesome.
she's the only one who got more
Right.
at the end of draft 1.
Yeah.
I When I was younger, I used to be extremely naive about the way the world worked. I thought it
Mhm.
was a lot better than it actually is. And so I'm trying to ascribe some of that feeling to her in that she has this relentless positivity that she's existed through eternal suffering her entire life,
Yeah.
but she knows it can be good. And it takes work and effort, and there is reason to do good and be a good person. So she was my favorite from like an emotional level of like, why do I write? I write for characters like this. Um, but Dijkstra, who you get very little of in book 1,
Mhm.
is a character up to 11, and you get so much more of him in book
Sweet.
2.
Yeah, he
I'm
is pretty
so
cool.
stoked. Yeah, it's like everyone in this world lives in a futuristic sci-fi setting, and he is a red-headed Viking with a braided beard who wears a leather like
Yes.
Matrix coat with
Yep.
black boots, who just enjoys hurting people. Like,
Yeah.
he's a great character, and he is I'd here's where we might get into book 2 spoilers a little bit. Um, he is part of the Trinity, which is
Okay.
the 3 main leaders, Alexandria being the leader, and Pax, who had a scene in Lost Souls, but he was unnamed.
Okay.
He was the doctor at the end of chapter 4 who did the experiment on the Spectre.
Oh. Okay.
And so he is the third of the Trinity, the scientist. Dijkstra, the executor, the
Oh,
executor, the person who
executive.
gets shit done. And
Yeah.
so he is the manifestation of violence to get things done,
Mhm.
which has parallels to real life. And you can have so much rhetorical power with your words. Physical violence is the most barbaric and damning tool that we have as humans. And throughout history, you've seen how effective it can be at both eliciting evil and combating evil.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of parallels, and hopefully book 2 on that topic.
I like it. We just had Britain's in here. What's up, man?
What's up,
We
my
are
friend? Sorry it took me so long to get back to you, Britton. Very excited for that. Um, Cena, hello. Thank you for
yes.
joining us. We are talking spoilers for book
We
1.
are.
Don't want to ruin your
Yes.
experience,
So
but thank you for stopping by.
yes. Um, have you heard of their channel? It's the Library on Legs. She has
Oh,
horses.
yeah.
She'll do her book reviews and talk about books while taking care of her horses. It's
That's
pretty fun.
cool.
It is very cool.
Okay,
She's a big audio,
okay.
but, so,
I'm gonna
um,
check it out.
yeah, she's pretty awesome. Britton, did you read the book yet? Because if you
He's
didn't,
got some homework.
I don't want to be spoiled.
That's all right.
Oh,
We'll
man.
hang out for a second.
Well, like I said, man, the book is awesome, dude. Don't sell yourself short. I think it's sweet. I loved it. And so I want to know for book 2. I feel like book 1 you had a lot of, even though you dropped us in and you didn't hold our hand, you did have a lot of stuff to set up. So you had to do a lot of world building and dialogue and character building and stuff like that. But whenever you wrote action scenes, like, you kicked butt on those, man.
Oh,
They
thank
were
you.
very
I
fun to
appreciate
read.
it.
So I want to know, is there going to be even more of that in book 2?
I would say the balance is roughly equal.
Ooh, I like that.
But the action is roughly equal. There's different scales, but it is just as impactful, because all of the Titans are now characters. You have personalities and skill sets that I get to explore different channels and avenues. Do you know who Ronnie Coleman is?
That
The
sounds familiar.
bodybuilder from the 1990s, early 2000s.
I've
Okay.
heard of.
Okay. Have you watched Game of Thrones?
Yes.
So you know who the Mountain is, right?
Yes.
The big
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
So think of the Mountain 2 feet taller with 200 more pounds of muscle. That's one of the
Okay.
Titans.
So,
And so
okay.
like that's pretty sick.
That
And
is
what
sick.
happens when a guy that big, that strong has mental health issues? How does he interact with the world knowing that he can just break everything? So you get to explore conflict like that from these other
Okay.
characters who are the pinnacle of this world, but they're messed up in the head because they grew up in this world. And so you get Kana going on her second third of her hero's journey, and she has physical action, she has political action, she has interpersonal conflict action, and Pax, who does experiments on humans, read into that, plays a big part in book 2.
Man.
And
Okay.
then there was human versus specter conflict at the end of book 1.
Yeah.
There is human versus other things conflict at the end of book 2.
Okay.
Tim, I'm glad the spoilers were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't regret sticking around, because now you can read it and you probably pick up on things that I did not pick up on.
I hope you can enjoy picking up on the things, because one of my favorite things about beta readers right now is they have no idea what's going on, and I'm so excited. I'm spoon feeding them these little nuggets, and I'm doing it, I think, a little bit better in terms of like making it clear, hey, you're not supposed to know what this is, but you are supposed to pay attention to it.
Right.
And they'll comment, be like, I have no idea what's happening here, but I'm really excited to see where this goes. And I'm really excited. I spent so much of book 1 learning how to write.
Yes.
Like I wrote the first book in omniscient, limited, first person, third person, past, present, head hopping. It was just all over the place. And so I had to learn how to write, learn how to plan, learn how to actually write prose, package it all together. Here, I was like, I know how to write. It's third limited. I know all the characters. The world's built. I can just go.
Right.
And so I wrote it in like 4 months. And the editing process and the molding and the finishing has been just a blast.
That's awesome, dude. Is there an audiobook?
There isn't at the moment, but I did find out that through ACX, which is Audible's audiobook production company,
Right. Yeah.
you can do something that is a royalty share as opposed to paying a narrator. And
Oh, okay.
so I might be looking into that after I publish book 2, have it
Sweet.
be a add-on between book 2 and book 3's release that, hey, book 1 and book 2 now have audiobooks. Um,
Awesome.
it's just something that is on the radar, and I hope to get them done. But I wanted to get the guy who narrated Red Rising, and he is $400 per produced hour, and it
Oh,
would have taken about $2,800 to get
yeah,
him
that's a
to
little too
Souls.
rich. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think the book has
that's
cleared
crazy.
$1,000 in sales. So we still haven't earned out our advance, is the industry term.
Right. Well, I mean, you could treat this as the conditioner of spending money on your book, right?
Yep, yep.
Oh man. Oh, here we go. Ithra says she'll back
Oh,
Kickstarter.
okay.
There you go.
I haven't ever done a Kickstarter before, so maybe it's something I look into.
Man. Can you imagine a special edition of this cover
I
with
reached
frayed
out
edges? Ooh.
to Wraithmarked, I think it
Okay.
was, the American company,
Mhm.
and they said they're on a 2.5-year wait.
Oh, I bet, man.
And I was like, "Well, we'll figure something out." And I'm gonna
Ah,
do a, special edition omnibus, so all 3
ooh,
books in one,
heck yeah.
'cause,
Love those
Zach
chunky omnibuses.
Argyle's Threadlight
Yes.
Kickstarter, I have that bookmarked on my computer as, like, a blueprint of, like, "Hey, this is how you run a successful
Mhm.
Kickstarter."
Oh yeah, he did great. Did you get one of those?
I
You're so strong, man. Every time I see something like that, I'm like, okay.
I have to pay for my editor and a cover artist, so I have to pick and choose my battles.
Yes, that's true. That's
So
true.
maybe, I
That's
can get one
important.
secondhand and read through that and pass it on to the next person to
There you go.
enjoy the story.
I like that. I like that. Yes, focus on your books because I want those to come because I want them.
So, I did just have a thought,
Uh-huh.
pro gamer move. I do have your address. I could just rob you of your books.
You could. That's true. Dang it. I knew I shouldn't have given you that.
You're
If
only
my shelves
within
are all
the
empty in the next video, you know who it was. The future governor of
I
Oklahoma.
suddenly have a bookcase behind me instead of picture frames.
Oh, yeah, you just have exactly what I have in the back.
I am the
Oh,
bearded book beast.
that's right. Dang it.
Now that's a funny April Fool's concept. Bring someone local to you with a beard and be like, "Sorry guys, I'm new here."
I should. That would be good stuff. Do you have you gone to any like cons or events or anything like that? Have you gotten to do anything like that
I
about with your
haven't
book?
yet.
Okay,
There were 2 or 3 that I heard about this year for the very first time. The context being, I wrote this book by myself. Like, I didn't know any authors, I wasn't in any
right.
discords, I just was writing it.
Yeah.
And then I published it, and they're like, "Hey, do you wanna join a Discord so you can market it?" I'm like, "That sounds fantastic."
Sounds
And
great.
so, WorldCon, I think, is one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Dragonsteel in
Great.
Utah, which is Brandon
Yeah.
Sanderson's.
Yeah.
And then there's one in Seattle, I think it's called Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
so there might be a con in my future.
Nice.
Um, I was hoping to get maybe all 3 finished so that I could do, like, package deals, wrap
Heck
them up,
yeah.
make them
Yeah.
nice, neat, and easily sellable.
Yep.
People sometimes don't like reading unfinished series,
Yeah. That's
and that surprises me because an author has never not finished their series.
right.
I don't think there's a precedent for that, so
No, I've
I
never
don't
heard of
know
such
where
a
that
thing.
comes from.
There's no popular series for sure that haven't been finished, right? I mean,
To even discuss 2 would be just
right?
astronomically
That would be
unbelievable.
wild. Oh man, I know. I don't know. That's never bothered me. Like, there's so much to read. Like, it's kind of
Mhm.
nice to be starting out a series and like, okay, now I've got time till the next one comes out. I can read other stuff. You know?
Yeah. I think I'm fine reading between books, like book 1 here,
Right.
book 2, book 3. I don't know how people read this 2, 3, 4 books at the same time.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't do it.
You know? No.
I
Oh
can't
man,
do it.
I can do it. They have to be like different though. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
But then I do think if I just focus on one, I would get
Mhm.
it done a lot quicker. Because if you're
And
reading
yeah.
20 pages of this, then 20 pages
Mhm.
of that, 20, well, like maybe I read 100 pages, but I just read
Mhm.
it in 4 books or whatever. Like,
And I'm gonna be an advocate for authors here. You, as an author, want someone to experience your book
mhm.
in the best way possible. So if someone's having a bad day and they read their book and they're like, "This book is trash," because
Yeah.
their bad day was seeping
Right,
into their experience,
right.
you don't want that in the same sense that me as an author, I don't want you reading my book and Guy Gavriel Kay or Robin Hobb at the same time because this quality difference is like night and day.
Oh, yeah, right.
If you're reading Robin Hobb and you go back to this, you're like, did a 6-year-old write this? But they're masters of their craft, so I
Right,
obviously have to. I can't ever say I'm going to be as good or great as them.
right.
Um, but you just want to give yourself a fair shot.
Yes, I agree. I like it. Very nice.
Hmm.
Oh, man. Let's see. Any other spoilers, things that I wanted to ask you about? Hmm.
What did you think of the Leviathan?
I thought that was pretty sweet.
Okay, did you get what was going on with the gravity?
Probably not the way you want me to.
Okay, well, we can talk about
Let's
that.
talk about that. What?
So this
Explain
is
it to
the
me.
payoff for the Magneto reference we made
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
earlier
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
in the book.
I thought of that
What
earlier when you
what
said that.
yep, what would happen if the
Mhm.
government had the ability to
Yep.
use Magneto's power? The nucleus is what creates gravity because
Okay.
every single thing on the ring, organic or not, is metallic. So it's magnetic. You just increase the magnetic field and you increase the gravity. And
Mm.
so you can use it as a population control device in the worst case scenario, like
Ooh.
they were with Maximus.
Yes.
That is why the blue flowers were so important, is because they neutralize the polarity of the
Okay.
metal in the body. And so he was able to fly freely,
Right.
like the Zephyrs or the Leviathan do,
Yeah.
because they can maneuver through a magnetic field because they're fully metal.
Right.
And
Okay.
so that's how I intended that to kind of play off. That was the payoff for him meeting Amir, and Amir comes back in book 2, and you understand how
Nice.
his
Okay.
efforts affect him as a human being and how they affect Ratchet. So the Leviathan were super cool. I don't
Yes.
they won't be back in book 2, but there
Okay.
will be an equally badass obstacle to overcome.
Nice. That's what I
So
like to hear.
I'm excited. And book 3 is just gonna ramp that up to 12.
Sweet. I'm excited, dude.
Oh, I'm so scared of book 3. I
Yeah, I bet. All right, now is this just going to be a trilogy? So book 3, you're going to have to like stick it.
it's gonna be stuck. My biggest fear is I'm taking a little bit of agency away from Kana, and
Okay.
that's tough because people don't like it when characters don't have agency over themselves.
Right.
Second, Kana is a woman, and there's a lot of male dominated cast around her that are fighting for her, fighting against her, love
Right.
her, hate her.
Right.
She
Right.
is the catalyst of everything.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be really difficult because she is the key piece to everything. But there is a part of the ending where it's not up to her. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how readers like it. We'll see if I can stick the landing.
Ooh. Now, do you have any idea of what you want to do after these 3 books?
So because I read Red Rising right after I finished Lost Souls,
Okay.
the split trilogies, no, quintology or quadology, however you say 4 books, um, is really unique. And so what I'm going to do is this is set in 2135. I'm
Mhm.
going to go to 2800, 2900. And so there's a
Nice.
big technological
I love
gap.
that.
And so right now you have 5 ring worlds,
Mhm.
and oh, we didn't even get to infinite existence. So infinite existence is the decree by the celestials that humanity has a right to exist.
Mhm.
It's manifest destiny amongst the stars. um, they begin to terraform worlds hundreds of years from now, similar to the terraforming of Mars, but
Right.
they are taking these new nucleic cores and bringing in asteroids and crashing them into the core to build planets from scratch and then seeding them with humanity. And so you have like altered carbon people living up in space with humanity having like paleologic levels of technology, but being influenced by far advanced levels of human technology, and pulling those people into a Hunger Games-esque trial to become like, are you familiar with Warhammer?
Oh yeah.
So they're going to be space marines. So we're going to be pulling people from these seed planets. They're called guardians.
Okay.
And so they're the equivalent of like space marines.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
So it's more space fantasy, and I think that's just so much more fun because they can do a little bit more magic. Everything in Lost Souls had a basis in reality.
Right.
Like there was chemical equations in here. Everything was balanced. Everything. If humans could absorb metal into their bone marrow and their bloodstream, theoretically this could happen. That's the way I tried to write it. Obviously, it is fiction, but the next series will be magic.
Oh man, you got me pumped now.
So that one's probably 5 years away.
Hey, that's all right. I can wait. I got 2 more of these books to read first.
Yeah. So anyone still hanging out in chat, if you want Lost Souls, I'll send it to you. If you want the Eternal Dreams beta read, let me know. I'll send you a personalized Google Doc so you can comment, edit, say things to your heart's desires, help shape, reform, and massage this thing into the best it can be.
Awesome. And we should show you a couple things. So first, Tim said characters losing agency. How dare you make a story feel real? I was thinking that when you said that too. Like that's life. That's real people. Like that happens.
Yeah, it is real, but when it happens at the climax, will that land? So we'll see.
I mean, we got after book 1, we got to be ready for anything.
You got to be ready for anything. Anything is coming. And I may have dropped a book 2 spoiler. Immortality is on its way.
Oh,
so just think about infinite existence, immortality, pushing the limits of science and human genetic modification. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It is. I'm excited. So I should have brought this up when we had everybody in here, but for those of you watching the replay, if anybody's still here, I guess I'll do this in like a post or something, but you did want to do a giveaway.
Oh, for sure.
A signed copy of Lost Souls. So keep an eye out I'll do a video that talks about a short that talks about what we're going to do, but keep an eye on social media. I'll come out with a way for everyone to enter into a drawing, a giveaway for this. So keep an eye out for that. I will announce that very soon.
Something like name, email address, and address, and we'll spin a wheel, and one lucky winner will get a signed copy from me with a misprint, so it'll be valuable.
We're gonna spin your painting with the cigarette. Which whoever the cigarette lands on. They're the ones.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh man. Well, this was fun, dude.
You are an excellent host for a live stream. You're gonna rock and roll for many years to come.
It's hard. It's hard because everybody says such good things, and then it's like I don't know if I should show this one or wait, but it was fun listening to you talk, man. I could listen all day.
An incredible guest coming on your next episode. John is fantastic.
Oh, I'm excited, man.
He is the first booktuber I sent my book. He is the first person to give me a real review, as in not elevated 5-star, not a 1-star. So like he brought me back to reality. He said some very nice things on his channel. So I was very appreciative because he kind of got me on my start for doing marketing, because I don't TikTok or Instagram or post on Facebook. So like someone willing to receive it and talk about it was like, okay, this is a thing I can do. So very thankful for John.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. And he got your book on my radar. That was the first time like I heard of it. So
fantastic.
I know.
See, it's doing exactly what I want it to.
Yes. Yeah, no, but I want to say to you on this video, I should have said this in the beginning too. Hopefully enough people watch at this point, because I want to say that I appreciate you, man. You were one of the first people that reached out when I first came on BookTube, and were super nice, super welcoming. And I just consider you a real friend now. So I just want to say
Absolutely.
thank you. I appreciate you, and just thanks for welcoming me and supporting me and the channel, and I appreciate it. And also thank you for letting me read this book, because it's awesome, dude.
It is the biggest honor of my life to have someone spend time with words on a page that came out of my brain. So
Yes.
I extend the same thank you to you. And I know how hard it is to go from 0 to any number of subscribers. Just starting with the first one is difficult. So
Oh yeah.
anything I can do to help other people be lifted up is something I want to do. And go Motor City Kitties this year in football. Wishing you all the best.
Thanks, man.
I'm a big fan of Jared Goff, and your
Oh
coach
yeah.
makes me want to run through a
Oh
wall.
dude,
I love
he's
Dan so
awesome, isn't he?
much. He is the best.
He's something else.
You
He's
want to talk
so much
about
fun.
leadership?
Oh
That's a
yeah,
guy to aspire to be. He
yeah,
was.
for sure.
I don't want to distract us. We could talk about football for hours.
I know, right? Oh man, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone in the chat, for
Thank
hanging out.
you.
Your comments make these chats so much more fun and engaging and
Hmm.
enjoyable. So, thank you very much for spending your time with us
Thank you,
tonight.
Molly. Yes, you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. And it's coming up on 2 hours, so I suppose I should let you get back to your life. What are you gonna do after this?
I gotta go eat dinner.
Eat dinner?
Yeah. I had a snack before. We were running
Oh,
late from the store, so,
you're a wild man.
time to
What are you
go
what are you
munch
gonna have?
soup dumplings.
Soup dumplings?
Oh, if you've never had them, they
I
are a
don't think I
gift.
have.
They are the biggest delicacy of my life. They're
Man,
amazing.
dang.
Find them at the Asian Mart.
All right, send me a picture. I need to see what
Okay.
they look like.
Or Trader Joe's. You might have more Trader
Oh yeah,
Joe's
there's
than
Trader
Asian
Joe's
Marts in
by
your
me. Yeah,
areas.
yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you everyone for being here. And I'll leave you with this, as I always say: devour those TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly. We'll see you. Oh, that